If you've had a chance to play the features demo game included with AnyRPG, you may have noticed that there is a flying dragon mount in the game. So how do you install this flying dragon in your game, and what happens if you want to use a third-party asset for a flying mount instead? That's what we'll be covering in this tutorial, so let's get started. For this tutorial, I will be using AnyRPG Engine 0.15, which is available as a free download from anyrpg.org/downloads in Unity package format. You can also follow along if you want using the free AnyRPG core, which is available on the Unity Asset Store. I will also be using the following third-party assets: the free Island Collection by Bicameral Studios, which includes some nice terrain that we can use to run around on and fly over, as well as the Dragon for Boss Monster PBR by Dungeon Mason, which is another free asset and is an absolutely incredible asset in my opinion because it includes 4 different dragon varieties as well as 4 different colors for each of the dragon and a ton of animations. To create the sample game, I will go to Tools, AnyRPG, Wizard, New Game Wizard. I will give the game name a name of Dragon, and I will give the first scene name a name of Island. I will then check the Copy Existing Scene box and then go to the Free Island Collection Scenes folder and drag in Scene 3 to the existing scene and click Create. Once the New Game Wizard has completed installing the game, I will go to Tools, AnyRPG, Wizard, Template Content Wizard, and I will install 2 pieces of template content. First, I am going to install the Dragon Unit template package, and second, I will install the Dragon Mount Ability template package and click Install. Once the template content wizard has finished installing the template content, there is a little bit of setup that needs to be done to the scene. First, I'm just going to delete the main camera. We don't need it. AnyRPG already has its own camera. Next, I am going to set the default spawn location to something appropriate, so I will middle click on the ground with my mouse, choose the default spawn location, and click Ctrl-Alt-F on my keyboard to move that to the location where I had just middle clicked. The next thing that I need to do is bake a nav mesh, so I will go to Window, AI, Navigation, and I need to set the terrain to static, and then I can go to the Navigation tab and click on the Bake tab and click on Bake. At this point, if all you wanted to do was use the built-in dragon that was installed with the template content, then it would be as simple as going to the Games, Dragon, Resources, Dragon folder, then going down and looking for Unit Profile Player, and under the UMA Player Unit, you could scroll down to the Capabilities section and give the UMA player a ability called Dragon Mount, which was installed with a template content, and simply press play. Once in the game, you would notice that you have a Dragon Mount ability on your taskbar, and if you clicked on it, then your player would summon a Dragon Mount which can both run and fly around the scene. Let's take a look at how that works. The dragon is just a standard character unit like any other character unit, so you'll find it under Unit Profile Character, Dragon Unit. The special thing about it is that if you scroll down, you'll see that the Flight Capable box is checked. That means that this dragon is capable of flying. Glide Capable is another capability that you could give it, but in this case that would just mean that it would slowly fall to the ground if it jumped off a cliff or any other high spot, but it wouldn't be able to actually fly up and down. So Flight Capable is what you want to go with. To mount the dragon, it is using a standard ability, so if we look under Base Ability under Mount, we will find the Dragon Mount ability. The key part here is that if we scroll down to the ability effect names, we see a Dragon Mount ability effect, and if we look at that ability effect, it is a type of status effect, specifically a mount effect status effect, And if we scroll down to the very bottom, we will see a mount unit profile name of dragon. So what this will do is it will put a status effect on your character and then summon the unit defined in that unit profile of dragon, and then mount your character on top of that dragon. Let's see how the mounting actually works. If we go down to the unit profile for the dragon unit, we can see that there is a target bone called mount point under the mount section under the unit prefab props. You can see that the model prefab is set to Black Dragon Model. So if we click on Black Dragon Model and open it up, we can see that there is a mount point defined by searching the unit for mount. You can see the mount point here. The mount point is basically just an empty that it has the back one bone as its parent, and whatever the Z forward direction is on this mount point empty is the forward direction that the player will be facing. Next, let's look at how you would set up a mount from a third-party asset. To do that, I am going to look for the 4 Evil Dragons PBR directory, and the dragon that I want to use is the Dragon Terrorbringer, so that's under Prefab Dragon Terrorbringer. I'm actually going to pull this into my scene and make a prefab variant of it, so I'm just going to rename that to Green Dragon. I am going to set the controller to none because AnyRPG will use its own character controller for this. I'm going to reset the transform to 0, and then in my games folder under prefab, I am going to pull in the Green Dragon, and I'm going to click on prefab variant. Then I'm just going to remove the word variant from it. We'll just have that called Green Dragon. Next, I'm going to double click on it and add a mount point. What we want to do is basically find the closest bone that already exists and use that as the parent for the mount point. The easiest way to create and set up the mount point properly is to create an empty, call it mount point, and just make sure that it is directly under the parent, or I mean the root of the prefab. And then we'll try to find a good bone for this. So let's just get rid of all of this other stuff here, collapse it, and I can see that we've got spine 1, which is way down at the bottom, and we've got spine 2 and chest. What I'm going to do is I'm going to parent it to the chest. So we'll take the mount point and parent it to the chest, and then we want to move that into position. Now, because I had created the mount point as a child of the root of the prefab, then the mount point is properly set up so it's sort of straight up and down. If we had created the mount point directly under the chest to begin with, then it would basically be facing the same orientation of as the chest, and the player would spawn in kind of sideways a little bit. So that's why it's good to first create it under the root and then drag it to where you want it. And that will also properly adjust the scale, because you can see that if we look at the root, the scale is 0.01. So we want to make sure just that when we pull in the mount point, it's going to automatically adjust that scale back up to 100. So that looks pretty good. This is basically where the player's feet are going to be. Now there is an issue with this, but I actually want to demonstrate that in the game first before we fix it, because this is an issue that you may encounter when you are setting up your own third-party asset as a mount. Next, let's run the new character wizard. So I will go to Tools, AnyRPG, Wizard, and New Character Wizard. I am going to check on Create Unit Spawn Node because we will need that for later in the demo. Then I am going to drag in my Green Dragon into the character model. It properly found the head bone, so that's good. That's the only bone that matters because that's going to be used for the unit frame. We don't need anything in the weapon attachments. It put some stuff in there. It's fine. We can just leave it. The character name Green Dragon, let's just put a space in there. That looks good. And next I want to assign the animation clips. So I'm going to go to the 4 Evil Dragons PBR directory, go to Dragon Terrorbringer, type in T:\animation clip in the search box, and then click on Dragon Terrorbringer to limit it to this directory. I'm going to shift click all of the animations and then pull them into the assign clips list. And next I'm just going to click my mouse in any other empty field, just type some garbage, get rid of it, and that will have caused this thing to refresh and properly assign the animations. You can see that it assigned a bunch of attack clips. Now for this demo I'm not going to do the flame attack or the flying flame attack. I'm just going to do the basic attacks. If you do want to see how to make a dragon breathe fire, then there is another tutorial on the channel called the animations tutorial, and you can have a look at that for how to make a dragon breathe fire. Everything here looks okay, except for we're missing a jump clip. For that, I'm just going to use the take off clip, and I'm going to scroll down and do a full combat mirror because there aren't specific combat versions of these particular animations. At the bottom, I do need to assign some flying clips, so I will use fly forward as the fly move clip, and then fly float as the fly idle clip. That looks pretty good, so I will click on create and let it go ahead and create the character for me. Next, we need to make some adjustments to the animations, so let's remove that search there for T animation clip and add some footsteps to the walk and run animations. So I'm going to click on the run animation and scroll down till I find the events section, and then I'm going to scroll through this animation until I find where the feet hit the ground, right about there, and I'll add an animation event called footstep, and this will help it play the footstep sounds when the dragon's feet hit the ground. Now I'm going to move forward a little bit until basically the back feet hit the ground and add another footstep event there. Next, I want to do the same thing for the walk animation, so I'll make sure to apply those ones to the run, and then I will scroll through the walk animation until I find where it looks like the back feet are hitting the ground right about there. I will add another footstep event and then keep scrolling until the front feet hit the ground, which is basically pretty much on the first frame there, and add another footstep event and click apply. Next, let's create the abilities that our character will use in order to summon the dragon and mount it. So I will go back to my game folder and I will find the existing dragon mount effect. I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate that, and I'm going to call this one the Green Dragon Mount Effect. I'll scroll up and make sure that I change the name here to Green Dragon Mount. And then at the very bottom, we will make sure to set the unit profile name to Green Dragon. I will also want to make sure that I create an ability for this. So under the mount ability, I will duplicate the existing dragon mount ability, and I'll type in green dragon mount ability. I will set the resource name to green dragon mount, and then scroll down and set the ability effect name to green dragon mount. Next, let's edit the unit profile for the green dragon. So to do that, I will scroll down and find the unit profile folder under my game, and we can see that there is the green dragon unit. I want to make sure that he is flight capable, and I want to make sure that I set the target bone to mount point, which is the empty that I created on the dragon, which is where the character is going to be spawning. I also want to set his footsteps, so I will scroll down and set the footstep type to both because we want to give him these heavy stomping footsteps. I'm going to click play on footstep, And for the footsteps, I'm going to choose the creature footstep hits fast. With both selected, what this means is that if there are existing sounds like grass or gravel terrain sounds in the level, then he's going to do both his own stomping footsteps, plus you'll hear the footstep sounds for whatever the appropriate terrain is underneath him. Let's remove the green dragon temporarily that I had created from the scene there and go to File Save. And next we need to set this on our player, so I'll go to the UMA player unit, scroll down to abilities, and choose Green Dragon Mount. Now I should be able to press play and ride this new Green Dragon Mount. In the game, you can see that I now have Green Dragon Mount as the ability, so I can cast that. And my character is riding the Green Dragon Mount, and we can run around. We get those big stomping footsteps. We can fly around. And it's all working great. But the animation looks a little bit funny. You can see that the character is basically bobbing back and forth through the dragon's head. This is that issue that I was referring to earlier. Let's see how we can fix that. Back in the prefab folder, I'm going to double click on the green dragon, and we can see that mount point there. Now the reason the character was bobbing back and forth is because the mount point is a child of the chest bone, and the chest bone is doing a lot of sort of back and forward motion as part of the dragon's animation. So the spine bone probably moves a lot less. It looked a lot more stationary. So what I can do is I can just grab the mount point and move it so that it's now a child of the spine 2 bone. And you can see that the mount point actually stayed in the exact same spot. So that's great, and we should be able to save those changes. And now if we press play, we should see when we mount the dragon that the character is moving a lot less. So you can see now that even though the character is doing some bobbing back and forth movement, that spine bone moves a heck of a lot less than the chest bone, so the character is at least not basically going through the neck of the dragon every time that the dragon breathes. So far, our examples have basically gifted the player with the ability to mount a dragon right from the start, but let's say you want your player to have to earn it. How would we manage that? Well, let's start with purchasing the mount from a vendor instead. So I'm going to go to Tools, AnyRPG Wizard, Template Content Wizard, and I'm going to install 2 pieces of template content. First, I'm going to install a vendor NPC template package, which is just going to give us a generic vendor who can sell us the dragon mount. And next, I am going to install the all cheat commands template package so that I can give myself some gold so that I can actually afford to buy this mount. Next, we need to create a couple of things in order to support this. First, we will need a quest, because right now one of the only other ways that you can get abilities other than granting them from character classes and such is as a reward for a quest. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go find the quest folder under my resources folder, and then right click and create AnyRPG and quest. And I'm just going to call this one the Green Dragon Quest. And then set the resource name to Green Dragon, and we'll scroll down, and what I need to do is make sure I set allow raw complete, which basically means that this quest can be completed without having to turn it in at a specific quest giver, and I will set 1 ability reward for the Green Dragon mount. Next, we need to actually create an item in order to trigger this quest. So I'm going to go to the items folder under my resources folder and create AnyRPG, scroll down till I find inventory, go to items, and I want a quest start item. And I'm just going to call this one the Green Dragon Egg item. And I'll give the resource name of Green Dragon Egg. And I am going to make this egg an epic quality just for fun so that it has a nice purple background. And I am going to set the price per level at 0, uncheck dynamic currency amount, set the currency name to gold, and then I am going to give it a base price of 500 gold. Now you will actually see that the price is a little bit more expensive than that, because what happens is the epic item quality has a price multiplier that will be applied to this, which will make it about 10 times more expensive. And so 500 is okay because I actually technically want the price to be 5,000. And under quests, we will give it one quest. We're going to check start and end so that this item can basically allow this quest to be completed immediately. And under the quest name, I'm going to choose Green Dragon. I want to make sure that the Green Dragon Egg item has an icon associated with it. So I'm just going to click on the icon and search for dragon. If you are using AnyRPG Core, you probably only have Avatar Dragon, but I'm using AnyRPG Engine, so I have this Dragon Egg Fancy available. Let's just go ahead and take a look at the item quality epic so I can show you the price multiplier. So you can see right here the buy price multiplier multiplies everything by 10 if the item quality is epic. Next, we need to set that item to be purchasable. The vendor NPC template that we installed has a vendor collection already associated with him called items. So I will go to the items vendor collection and I will add one item that has an unlimited quantity that can be purchased, and the item is Green Dragon Egg. Finally, what I want to do is I want to add this vendor to the scene. So I am going to go and look under the prefab unit spawn node interactable vendor, and then just pull my vendor NPC unit spawn node in there pretty close to the character. And now my character should be able to purchase that egg. Let's go down and remove the ability from the character to have that dragon summon by default. So under unit profile player, under UMA player unit, I am just going to scroll down and remove the green dragon mount as a default ability. In the game, you can see that I no longer have the dragon mount available on the bars, so I will have to go talk to this vendor over here. And now you can see that there is a green dragon egg available for purchase for 5,000 gold, and I don't have any gold, so I will use a cheat command to gain currency gold and give myself 5,000 gold, and now I should be able to afford the green dragon egg. If I open up my inventory, I have the green dragon egg in there. If I right click on it, then I just have a quest which I can auto-complete, which gives me the green dragon mount. Let's complete that, and there we go. Now I can summon the green dragon mount, and theoretically I had to grind 5,000 gold before I was able to get that. Finally, let's demonstrate a way that your character might have to use a little bit more luck or skill to get the mount, and that is to actually have to fight the dragon in order to get that dragon egg as a drop. So I will go to Tools, AnyRPG, Wizard, and Template Content Wizard, and I will install two pieces of template content. I want to install the Fighter Character Class template package, as well as the Warrior Character Class template package. The reason we're going to do this is because the easiest way to gain strength or attack power in this game is through character classes, and so it's best to just assign the warrior character class to the dragon, and then we'll have our character be the fighter character class. Once the template content is installed, we can go down to the unit profile for the green dragon unit, and what we'll want to do is just set his faction to enemy so that he is aggressive to us. And then we will want to set his character class to warrior so that he gets some attack power and can actually do some damage to us. Next, I need to make a loot table so that he can drop the dragon egg when we kill him. So I will find the loot table folder in my resources folder and then go to create AnyRPG loot table, and I'm just going to call this the green dragon loot for the loot table and make sure I give it a name up here of Green Dragon. I am going to add one loot group with a group chance of 100, and I will now add some loot to that. For the item name, we will give the Green Dragon egg. When it does drop, it will drop 1 and 1 precisely, so min drops 1, max drops 1. Now, if I wanted to make it so that, similar to when I finally got invincible in World of Warcraft and it took me like 168 kills, we could set the drop chance really low to something like 1%, but for the purpose of this demo, I'm going to set the drop chance to 100% for the Green Dragon egg. Next, we need to make it so that the dragon can actually drop this. So we'll go down to the unit profile, go to the Green Dragon unit, scroll down until we find the inline interactable options at the bottom. We will create one and call it a lootable character props, which is what makes an enemy drop loot once you defeat it. Then we will give him one loot table name, and that's the Green Dragon loot table that we have just created. I need to add a unit spawn node for this dragon to the scene, so I will scroll up to the prefab folder, and since we checked that create unit spawn node box when we were creating the character with the wizard, I can have a Green Dragon unit spawn node, which I will just drag into the scene over here. Let me just make sure that that is more than 20 yards away from my character. It is, so that's good. So he's not going to aggro me immediately when we start the game. And finally, I just need to fix the dragon's attack animations and make sure that the hit events are in the right spot. So I'll go to the Dragon Terrorbringer folder and go to Attack Wing Claw. I will scroll down to Events, and you can see that there is one hit event here that was automatically added by the character, or the new character wizard. If we scroll forward, we can see that this is about where the damage should be done. So I'm going to pull that hit event back, and this is a special attack that has damage twice during the animation. So I will add a second hit event right there. Call it hit, and now he should properly do damage at the right spot in the animation. And I will also go to his basic attack, and the basic attack's pretty much perfect. This is right when the damage should be occurring, so it's in the center of the animation, it's already in the right spot, and there's nothing to really do there. In the game, you can see that the dragon is over a little bit away from our character, and now he's going to aggro us, and we can start fighting him. Once we defeat him, we can see that he is lootable, and when we loot him, we get a Green Dragon egg. Once I complete the quest for that, then the Green Dragon mount appears on my bars. I can click on that, and I can once again fly around on the Green Dragon, and this time I actually earned it by killing the dragon rather than just getting it automatically or having to buy it from a vendor. That's good enough for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed that, and if you did, don't forget to thumbs up the video and subscribe to the AnyRPG YouTube channel. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next video.